Okay, thank you everybody for joining us today. Today we will be covering digital transformation of JDE reporting. My name is Kristen Bassett. I am the Director of Pre-Sales here at ReportsNow. On the phone with me today, I also have Alan Van Nuys, the Vice President of Customer Solutions, and we will be joined remotely by Victor Lang from Smartbridge. Unfortunately, he's not able to join us on the phone today, but he has made his contribution that we'll be able to include in today's webinar. Just some housekeeping notes. There is a chat box. If you do have any questions during the webinar, if you use the chat box with the GoToWebinar, you can type those out and we will stop throughout the webinar today to answer those questions. Also, we do automatically have you on mute, so the chat box is the best way to get our attention. We'll go ahead and get started now with the webinar. We'll go through and do a quick presentation with Victor Lang from Smartbridge narrating.
Hello, my name is Victor Lang, Vice President of Enterprise Systems at Smartbridge. I'm very excited for you to join us today to discuss digital transformation and one of the key digital transformation enablers, advanced analytics and reporting. At Smartbridge, we help customers simplify their business transformations, enabling new strategic capabilities and streamlining their business processes using the latest in digital technologies. Today, we'll talk about what that means in terms of digital transformation and some of the key enablers related to reporting tools that will help you get the analytics and information you need to act. So what do we do at Smartbridge? Well, we provide a wide range of services, starting with strategy and advisory to help our clients define their business strategy, enable their IT roadmap, and select the right tools and technologies to really enable their business goals. Then, within enterprise systems, we focus on JDE Edwards, implementations, upgrades, integrations, rollouts, as well as the managed services needed to fully support that system ongoing. In business intelligence and analytics, we look at your entire enterprise data and business information needs, including everything from streamlining your analytics, the data management, as well as enabling the dashboards and data warehouses to actually consume and act on that data. Within enterprise mobility, we focus on your mobile strategy, helping you build the key mobile applications you need, deploy them and manage them, as well as some of the latest technologies related to Internet of Things and intelligent assistants, whether it be with Amazon Echo or cognitive computing. In order to deliver the right solution that addresses our customers' needs, we have a strong ecosystem of partners. These partners are some of the best-of-breed solutions out there, and we'll be talking specifically about ReportsNow, which is one of the best-of-breed reporting solutions and analytic solutions integrated with JDE Edwards. So what is digital transformation, and why is it important? Well, digital transformation is really just about business transformation, but using some of the latest and disruptive technologies, mobility, Internet of Things, advanced analytics, cognitive computing. All of these technologies are at the forefront of today, and companies are leveraging these so that they can get ahead of their competition and enable new capabilities. We'll give you some examples. The characteristics of a digital enterprise really speak to what digital transformation is. It's having agility, time to market, time to value, being able to act on unforeseen opportunities quickly or react to unforeseen threats, or even actually become the leader and develop those new capabilities before your competition. Real time, that means continuous data, having the right information at your fingertips when you need it so that you can act quickly and not be in a reactive mode but in a proactive mode. And being connected, working with your customers, your suppliers, and also your workforce in a social and collaborative manner so that you can really enable the right teamwork and streamline your processes to also be highly efficient and highly effective. So to further understand what digital transformation is and what it really means, I want to give you some of the landscape of what's going on and how it really could apply to you. Look no further than what's happened to Blockbuster. They're now extinct because of digital transformation. Netflix, a fully digital company, has taken over and provides the streaming capabilities that once was provided by a brick and mortar store. But that's not all there is out there. Look at the endangered species, the taxi cab drivers out there. They're getting replaced by Uber because they've come up with a new model that is better and provides a highly improved customer experience. I can get on my mobile app for Uber, identify a vehicle that I would want to ride in, know exactly what the prices I'm going to pay, when it's going to arrive. When I get there, I don't even need to reach into my wallet to pay. It's all seamless. And then you look at the Walmarts out there that are threatened by all the online business Amazon is doing. And now Amazon is providing same-day delivery with a wide range of distribution centers across the U.S. So you can see that there is a huge opportunity to take advantage of some of the digital capabilities out there. So what are the change? What's the disruption occurring in your business? And how can you better serve your customer? How can you better collaborate? And how can you test and learn so that you can experiment and be able to find what's successful and then act on it? You need to be able to have your technology team, your IT team act with speed and agility, and you need to understand the portfolio or program of projects that need to work together to enable some of these capabilities. So think about all of these different things when you think about digital transformation, because it really, at the end of the day, it's about transforming your business to be more agile, more capable, and thrive in this new economy. Now that we've talked about the landscape, let's go over some of the key enablers that can really help you transform your business and what those technologies are. There's a wide range of things, everything from cognitive computing, mobile, advanced analytics. All of these can help you become a faster, more effective enterprise, enable new business capabilities, improve your collaboration, and really enhance your customer experience. But how do you measure it? That's really important when you take on a digital transformation initiative, is measuring it either by acquisition of new customers or via transactions. How many transactions can you execute with no manual intervention? Really streamline things and make it more efficient. And then customer engagement. This one might be a little bit more difficult to measure, but the more that you can engage and compel your customers, the better off you are and the more the value you can bring to them ahead of your competition. What we're going to focus on today is one of the key enablers, advanced analytics. What can you do from getting the information from your JDE Edwards ERP system, reporting the information that you need, being able to self-service reporting, or creating the dashboards and the visualizations you need so that you have easy to digest information that you can quickly analyze and act on. With advanced analytics, you really need to understand the information that you want to analyze and how you want to visualize and go about viewing and digesting that information. Begin with a storyboard. Here's an example of a storyboard that Smartbridge has created where we look at the enterprise summary KPIs, the key performance indicators, and the key enterprise level metrics that you want to capture in a summary view. And then we develop the next level tier 1 detail views that might be the next piece of information that you would want to drill down to based on that summary. Further down the road, you can look at specifically categorized detailed dimensions, whether it be location-based or financial or technical information. And then you can drill all the way down to the transaction level views. So you get specific information about a work order or an invoice. And then have all the different tools and components and the building block reports that allow your users to be able to conduct self-service reporting. So this is a typical storyboard that we've created that kind of outlines that process of generating that dashboard flow and helping you build some of that advanced analytic capability, leveraging the information that you may have in your JDE Edwards enterprise system. After we've defined some of these, we look at mocking up some of the dashboards. So what do some of these visualizations look like? What are the best ways to see this or digest this information? Here's a variety of mock-ups that we created. And really, when we talk about dashboards and reports, I really want to hand it off now to Kristen from ReportsNow because she's really going to give you the background of the ReportsNow tool, which is one of the best-of-breed reporting and dashboard solutions integrated with JDE Edwards. She'll give you a little bit of background about it, and also she'll demo how you can easily build some dashboards similar to these using the ReportsNow tool.
And thank you to Victor remotely for doing that. I will actually be turning this over to Alan Van Nice, who is our VP of Customer Solutions. We'll be having him do the demo today. I did just also want to mention that we will be recording today's webinar. And if you would like to get a link to where that webinar is saved, please let us know. We'd be happy to provide that to you. And now I will turn this over to Alan. Alan, are you ready?
I am ready.
Fantastic. It's all yours.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. We thank you for participating this morning. I know that there's better things you can do with an hour of your, well, I'm not sure that there's better things you can do. There's other things you can do with an hour of your time. So thank you for that. I have about a 6 little slide PowerPoint. We don't want to PowerPoint you to death today. And then I'm going to jump into a live demo and kind of show you some really fast ways that you can get to a digital output as quickly as possible. So the company is ReportsNow. The software I will be demoing today is called Data Access Studio. We call it DAS for short. I'll come back to my contact information later. So we were founded, we've been hanging around since '03. We're in Denver. We're right next door to the Oracle campus. We've got about 50,000 users using the software worldwide. Most of those people are business types. They're not technicians. I've got a lot of technicians that love the tool as well, but the point of that is that business types can actually use this themselves. We've got about 30 partners worldwide. We're an Oracle Gold partner, and we are 100% focused on the JDE product line. However, you can use this with anything, not just JD Edwards. You can even mash up data between multiple systems. Kristen, do you see my screen, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. And my screen should change right now, did it?
Yes, it did.
Okay, good, great. So let's begin by just talking about JDE for a minute. I mean, that's kind of where most of us live our lives, at least from an ERP perspective. It's got 5,000 tables. It's got 8,000 business views. How on earth does a normal, everyday kind of a person find data? And we're going to talk about that today. If you're using traditional reporting, you're probably suffering through package builds of some kind. If you're using a one-view reporting, or if you're using anything that's a native tool inside of Enterprise One, every time you even build a new business view where you're joining tables together, you've got to wait for a package build. It goes from DV to PY, PY to PD. Typically, that's a 2-day process at least, maybe even a week. So it takes a long time to turn things around in the native tool set. Also, things like language support, when you talk about other tools in the marketplace, aren't always inherited. There are localizations inside of JD Edwards. We inherit those localizations right out of the box. We also inherit things like you see every day inside of JD Edwards in your current environment, like your dates being in the correct format depending on your localization, your currencies being in the correct format, things like visual assists and things of that nature continuing to work. And then best of all, we inherit security all the way down to the column and row level, even down to business unit level security as well, the second that you sign in. So we are JDE Smart, and that's kind of our roots. I mean, we're kind of a JDE specific company. I want to talk a little bit about BI, and then we'll move into the live demo. So traditionally, in the traditional BI landscape, you've got all kinds of tools out here to purchase and all kinds of tools out here to learn. You've got data modeling and storage tools where you've got data modeling, data schemas, even data warehouses. All of that has to be set up or at least attached to. Security and accessibility. You've got user management. You've got security management. You've got folder management. You may even have conditional security where you want to do data masking depending on a specific condition. And then you're going to have, you know, your normal kind of data extraction type tools and mashup tools. In the marketplace today, the big buzzword is ETL, extract, transform, load. That's what DAS is. DAS has always been an extract and transform tool. You know, now with Moby, which I'll talk about in a minute, we're also a load tool as well. Then you're going to have dashboard tools, you're going to have scheduling tools, and everybody on the, you know, in the marketplace has got some type of a pre-built content bundle that you can purchase. And then lastly, you've got 3 different delivery methods that you can take advantage of. You've got real-time, you've got browser-based reporting, and you've got mobile reporting. Gartner tells us that the average BI implementation if you're using a complete suite of things, it's even worse if you're using like best of breed. But if you're using a suite, the average implementation is 1 year. And about 20% of those actually get what they expect to get when they're done. So 80% of them do not. That's been the traditional kind of landscape for BI for a long, long time. If you compare that to DAS, again, that stands for Data Access Studio, you get most of all of that in one tool. So you get the ability to inherit the data schema for JD Edwards directly out of the box, and I talked about security and currency codes and dates. All the formatting comes with that. Then you get all of the security and accessibility tools built into the software. So you manage users, you manage security, you manage folders, you manage conditional security, all right there inside of DAS. DAS is your ETL tool, it is your dashboard tool, it is your scheduling tool, and we come with about 500 pre-built reports right out of the box. You'll notice I've got 4 boxes on this screen kind of grayed out. I've got the ability to do data modeling grayed out, no data warehouse, no browser-based reporting, and no mobile reporting. So DAS is the real-time reporting engine. It's also where all development occurs for any other thing that you may want to do from a reporting perspective. You get all of that in 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. Compare that to a year, 20 minutes. We install it for you. We train you for free during the trial. You try it before you buy it. All that in 20 minutes. If you want to add True BI to that, now you can see I've grayed out everything else but the 4 boxes that are really BI. We call this MOBI, Mobile Business Intelligence for the Enterprise. And with MOBI, now you also get the ability to model your own data. And the only thing you have to know how to do to model your data is to click a publish button. That's it. That's modeling. And we'll talk about that as we go forward today. When you choose to do your own model and you click the button for publish, it publishes it to a data warehouse automatically. You do it yourself. And then those reports are now available in two additional delivery methods. That would be in the browser in the cloud. And that cloud can be on-premise or Azure or Amazon. We don't care where you host that. And then lastly, that same button that you press to publish also turns your dashboards into a mobile dashboard. If you want all of that, you can add 1 hour to your implementation. So in an hour and 20 minutes, you have what traditionally takes 1 year. And we'll talk more about that as we get into it today. So it's a very low-cost entry point, but you know, somewhere between 10,000 and 15,000, you can be up and going. You can scale it as you need. We are not module-based. I'm not trying to sell you JDE one more time. You can hit any database, not just JD Edwards. I mash up data between multiple systems all the time. Self-service is real. I've got 50,000 business users worldwide that say so. It's a no-risk, try it before you buy it model. So if you want to try this out, we install it for you, we train you, we give you access to the academy, and you're off to the races. And then lastly, you can add bursting and automation whenever you want. You can also add True BI anytime you want. So you can get going really quickly in 20 minutes and then kind of build your way into the rest of it. Today, I am going to kind of show, I'm going to do some extracting and transforming. I'm going to turn that into a dashboard. I'm going to publish that out to the web, and then I'm going to import that into JD Edwards and show you how to use Cafe One integration to put this directly into Enterprise One. By the way, this is what we're going to get to today. So this is Oracle JD Edwards right here, Enterprise One, and you can see this is an E1 page, and this is a dashboard I've built myself here. And the cool thing about this one is on my month-to-month kind of timeline here, this little red line, what that is a picture of is my actuals for my cells are in kind of the bluish gray mountainous terrain kind of background there. My little red line is a spreadsheet. So I'm forecasting in Excel, and I have my actuals from JD Edwards, and I've come up with an order versus forecast report using multiple data sources. That's a real-life example of the types of things you can do with DAS. A few others before I get going here is this is the MOBI portal. So we talked about MOBI, Mobile Business Intelligence for the Enterprise. This is a list of nothing more than, a bunch of dashboards that were either published to me by other people or I published them to myself. This is kind of what they look like. This is an example of like a new hire dashboard, and I can click on these things and drill into them. You can see corporate admin had some new hires this month and determination this month. This is like an injury type of a dashboard where I'm showing the number of injuries per body part. You can look over here and say that, see quickly that on Saturday mornings, 45% of my injuries occur at that time between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I mean, it's kind of useful information. I mean, that way you can kind of pull your people aside and have a quick meeting with them and say, hey guys, we're going to injury time, be careful. Things of that nature. So I just think that, and by the way, you're no longer kind of relegated to these shapes that come with these tools. So in these modern day tools that are non-JDE specific, you have all these little dashboard widgets that you can just kind of place on the screen, and that's kind of all you get, right? This is a kind of a hand-drawn little floor plan that I drew myself, took a picture of, and imported. And we have another product called Easy Shapes. So you can import a shape like this, and to import a shape, you just say import shape, and you click here, and it draws it for you, and then after it draws it, it lets you rename these little elements. Like I can go Unit 1, Unit 2, for example, and then when I'm done with this, I hit the Publish button, and it turns it into a shape. And then I import that shape, and I kind of connect that up to my data, and I've got custom shape ability as well. So you're no longer stuck with just our shapes that we give you out of the box. You can create anything you want. It doesn't matter to us. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of where I'm going with today's conversation. Let's do some ETL. So I'm going to extract and transform, but before I do that, I mentioned earlier there's 5,000 tables, there's 8,000 business views. How on earth does a normal everyday citizen find data? So let's say it's the end of the year, we want to get out some 1099s, we want to build a quick vendor phone list maybe, and we want to check the tax IDs to make sure they're all the correct length and to make sure that they're not blank. And if they're the wrong length, we keyed them in wrong. If they're blank, we need to call these vendors and get the tax ID. So, just like in Google, every day of our lives, we're hunting for dentists or doctors or restaurants. You type in the English language and Google spits back a response. Same type of thing with us. You type in address book to find your vendors, and we spit back all of the different tables that include the word address book in the title. You'll notice here, I can see very quickly this is the FO101. That's the JDE speak for that table. Now, I know that there's no phone number on that table, and if we were to open it up, we'd find out very quickly. And Kristen, I see the question mark already popping. Do you want to field that real quick? You with me? Hello, hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
I don't see a question or a chat, but definitely if you guys do have a question or a chat, by all means go ahead and use the chat box or the question box to ask that. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I noticed here that this is the FO101. I need phone numbers as well. So I'm going to remember the FO101. I'm going to back up here and type in phone number, for example. And I can see there's a phone number table out there called address book phone numbers, FO115. The cool thing is now that I have both of those, I can do this type of thing where I just type in both of those tables, and it spits back all of the tables in the 8,000 business views that already exist for us. And this particular one at the top here already joins those two tables for me. It also gave me an extra one. So I am going to go ahead here and open this up. And before I do anything, I'm going to go to table joins, and I'm just going to name this, AJ phone list, like so, okay? And I'm going to click OK. And it's going to show us all of the tables that business view is made up of. So this one right here is a mystery to me. I don't know what that is. I don't need it. I'm going to blow it away. If I go to columns here, also JDE kind of gave me what they wanted me to have. I'm going to add the tax ID. I'm going to add the phone number type. I'm going to click Save and Close. I'm going to grab some sample data, And then I can even do things like remove, well, I've got a lot of blank tax IDs, which is not good. And the other thing I need to do is probably go like quick calculation, text, string length. And then I can say, show me everything that's not 9 digits, for example. All of these need to be corrected. You know, I've got some pretty bad data, you all. So anyway, that's a quick and dirty example of how you can use the Google-like search to kind of find business views that already exist. You can change those by dropping tables or adding tables. You can add columns and drop columns. And if you're a OneView fan, you can even do things like popping in here and just say OneView. And every single business view that OneView created is out here. So, you know, and all we're showing you all is what you all already own. You own JD Edwards. JD Edwards ships with 8,000 of these business views that already kind of join tables together for you, including all the business views that they produce for OneView. So they're all out here. You can get to them immediately just right here in the Google-like search and begin going. So let's do a quick example here. I'm going to type in the 4211 here, which is accounts pay, if I do it in English, like so. And I'm going to show you kind of the ad hoc ability of the tool. So if I grab some sample data here and I go design columns and I hide everything, I'm going to grab a few things now. So document type, document number, address book number. By the way, I don't have to scroll through all this if I don't want to. I can use wildcards like you would expect to. And I'm going to type in start date. All of my dates now show up, invoice date, due date. Same with like amounts here, start amount, and we'll get gross amount and open amount. Click OK. So now I have a query. It's not a report yet, it's just a query. A couple things occurred to me immediately is that I don't know who 4344 is. I also forgotten maybe what a PL is. I want to know those things. Cool thing is if I double click the address book number here, it brings in the name associated with that immediately. And then I can rename that just by a right click to, let's call them vendor or supplier, vendor name, like so. Same with like your doc type descriptions. If I double click here, it brings in that UDC description immediately. And you know, now that I know what a PL is, I can just say right click and delete that and it's gone. Okay. Arithmetic. If you want to do arithmetic, you just kind of click on the columns you want to do math with. You go down to calculations. You hover over the math routines. Look at all of the math that you get to do from a right click. That's a lot of math routines. I'm going to go ahead and do difference here. Same with like date logic. If I want to do dates, I just go quick calculation, date. A lot of date routines from a right click, date difference. I'll rename this to be like, I don't know, it's not completely accurate, but we'll call it days old. And then I'll call this one like amount paid maybe, like so. And then I can even do things like show me stuff greater than 20 days old. I can drag that up and make that a parameter. I can drag that up and make that an invoice date. I can even do things like show me only 07, for example, and I can hit run. So now I have a report, but I need the total. So remember that vendor name was not even part of the raw data set on the accounts payable table. I can right click here and I can group by that. And notice what happened here. Anything that was numeric was totaled automatically. Days old doesn't make a lot of sense here. I'm going to go summarize none on that. And then maybe I'll total one more time, maybe like due date here. I'll group it one more time. Now I've got a double grouping. I could do a triple grouping. I could do a quadruple grouping. It doesn't matter. However many times you want to group, you can. This is where tools typically get complicated, is when you begin totaling and when you begin doing like level breaks and things of that nature. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is what makes this a user solution, is that if I don't want a total, I right click and I say suppress and it's gone. If I want it back, I right click exactly where the total should be and I hit unsuppress and it's back. It's that simple. If I decide 5 days from now I want this by business unit name and vendor name as opposed to vendor and due date, I can do a save as and create a second report, for example. I can just simply go clear all my grouping, bounce back into columns, type in BU for business unit, grab the business unit, double click it. I got a business unit name, I got a vendor name, I right click and I group. I'm completely retotaled. That's all there is to it. It's very simple to use. It's very powerful. I don't think that there's anything like this in the JDE market space. In fact, I've not seen anything like this even in your like Gartner Magic Quadrant kind of tools. None of them really do ad hoc reporting as easy as this thing does. If I want to export this thing to Excel now, I click the X button, and now I have it in Excel. And it's very much what you see is what you get. Notice I was subtotaled there, so it subtotaled everything. If I want to go back to vanilla and just show complete detail here, I hit the X button, and now I've got complete detail. Okay, so that's an example of just kind of ad hoc. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do what we call a trend and kind of show off trending, and then we're going to build a dashboard. So I'm going to pop over to sales orders for a minute. There's my sales order detail. I'm going to open it up. And this time, before I do any ad hoc anything, I'm going to find my sold to number right here, and I'm going to double click that. And I'm going to rename that to be my customer name. So I'm going to rename this to be customer name. So what I want to do with this report is I want to create 13 columns on my report. The first column will be the customer name, and the 12 subsequent columns will be January through December, showing me the number of orders that each customer, purchases per month. Okay, so to do that, we have things that are built into the software called trends. So I'm going to right click here, I'm going to go down to trending, and I'm going to go down to month trend, and it's going to ask me a couple of questions. So number one, for each customer name, show me individual months for, and I'm going to use order date here, and then roll up the sum of, and I'm going to use quantity ordered right there. And then it has a couple of check boxes. Do I want to show only the summaries? Sure. Do I want to hide the unused columns? You bet. Do I want to override any existing grouping I may have? Yes. Click OK. And then that quickly, I have a month trend. So January through December. Now, I didn't filter this like I should have. I should have just looked at 1 year. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and bring in order date, for example, and I'll put it on there. I'll drag it up to the top, and then I'll hide it like so, and I'll tell it that in this particular case, I want to look at only at 17, and I'll hit run. So there are all of my customers in 17 and how many orders they're doing January through December. Now, I can ask additional questions as well. So the first question I've asked here is, how am I doing from an order perspective month over month? Second question is, who are my top 20 customers? So I'm going to do yet another trend. I'm going to go ahead and go trending, rank my top 10. I'm going to change that from 10 to 20. And by the way, you can even change that after the fact as well. So I'm going to go rank top 20 based on customer name, rolling up the sum of, and again, we're checking on quantities that were ordered. So we'll go down here to this guy, and we'll click OK. So now I can hide this guy now. If I rerun this thing, it shows me my top 20 customers and how I'm doing month to month. Here's where we run into problems with rows and columns. So I'm going to ask you, let's do an exercise really quick, you all. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to really think about how your mind works for a minute when I ask you this. And I want you to think about what first comes to your mind. What is the most expensive Christmas present you purchased last year? Now, I'll bet you a number did not pop into your head. I'll bet you a picture popped into your head. Because we as human beings, we think in pictures. We don't think in numbers. And we certainly don't think in rows and columns. So by creating rows and columns in a report, we're kind of already going against human nature. And then if you take this and you kind of apply it into a digital transforming type of an element and try to put this onto like a mobile device, there's no way that you're going to hunt and peck through, 14 rows or 14 columns on a mobile device and figure out that June is our best month. You're just not going to do it. Additionally, when you're talking rows and columns, you're really stuck with about 2 questions. If I wanted to do if I want to know how I'm doing by item now, I couldn't put this on this report. It would take a second report. So I'm very limited with rows and columns on what I can do. From an ad hoc perspective and an ETL perspective, I'm hoping that you can see the power of the tool. It does a whole lot, but I also want to show you, what the future of things kind of looks like. So in the future, what you're going to do is you're going to click on our little dashboard icon, and what happens here is that in a traditional environment, what happens is a team of IT people go off and they build these things called cubes, and then we as business types, we get to use those cubes for queries. In our world, any report that you build or any report that was built and published to you can become a cube or a data source. So I name mine that I'm going to use for dashboards DBQ for dashboard query, and I'm going to type in DBQ dash, and I think I've got one called orders versus forecasts out here. Well, let me back. I'm just typing in forecasts. Okay. And I believe it's this guy right here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this particular report to a dashboard. Okay, so now I have a dashboard surface. I talked about those little widgets that we can drop onto the screen here. Here's a few of them. Remember, I'm not limited to that. I can bring in any widget that I created with easy shapes here as well. It also opens up the report that I built, which is where my data is located. Now you'll notice on this particular report I've got quantity ordered, which came directly from JD Edwards. I also have this thing called forecasts. This forecast actually came from a spreadsheet. So I'm telling it right here, I'm connecting to a spreadsheet. I'm using sheet 1. I'm marrying the data up by order date, rep name, branch plant, and the customer name, and I'm bringing back a column called forecasts. These are all the columns I had on that spreadsheet, and I'm just bringing back the forecast, and that's all. So basically, on this one report, I think I've matched up about 7 or 8 different JDE tables because I'm going out to get descriptions for business units and other things. I'm getting item names, things like that, and a spreadsheet. So 7 tables plus a spreadsheet, and what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and do this guy live. All right, so I'm going to start out with this one, my month over month, and I'm going to show both my JDE data and my non-JDE data. The forecasts are in a spreadsheet, so let's do that. So I'm going to tell it I'm going to do a chart. So I'm dropping the chart visual onto the screen here, and then I have to tell it how I'm going to slice that up. Well, let's start with value. So the first value that I want to kind of track here are the quantity ordered, and then I want to slice that up by order date. And when order date comes in by default, it gives it to me in year over year. I don't want that. I want month over month. I'm going to say this is a month. So now I've got, all of my months out here. Let me go ahead and run this. Get my data going here. So there's my January through December. You'll also notice that some of my data here is really tiny. Like I've got orders here in November, but it's not really showing a really large kind of a chart here because I have other things that don't scale. So I need to scale this. So I go design, I'm going to go to my Y settings. I'm going to remove the grid lines and make it look a little nicer. I'm going to remove the axis. I'm going to go ahead and scale this to a level of maybe like 2, which is pretty accurate. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on my little chart type here, and I'm going to tell it this is, go ahead and add my point labels on here as well. So there I go. I've got point labels, I've got a chart. Let's go ahead and add our forecast now. Remember, these forecasts come from a spreadsheet, not even JDE, and I've got forecast now. Remember, on the original here, these look like mountains for my actuals, and the red line is my forecasts. So let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my graph type here, telling it I want mountains for my actuals. And I'm going to click on the graph type here for my forecast and tell it I want a line. I'm also going to add some point markers, and I'm going to add point labels like so. And that's it, you all. That's all there is to it. I just mashed up a report using both JDE data and non-JDE data. I've created a dashboard. I'm going to remove this legend. I don't need that. And I can rename this to be like, let's call it orders and forecasts by month, that type of thing. Okay, I could also put a map on here. So if I want to add a map now, I'm going to say go ahead and drop a map on here. My data is US data. I'm going to say my default data is the US map. Let's go USA here. If I look at my data over here, how am I doing on time? I got about 15 minutes, Kristen?
Yep, about 15 minutes.
Okay, so you'll notice that all of my data is in two-digit state code type data, traditional US format. My little map over here can take data in a lot of different formats. I'm going to go ahead and drag over my state code. You'll notice here a little paperclip. That paperclip is telling me I have to attach my data to the state map data. We'll do that in a second. I'm also going to tell it that I'm going to kind of measure the value of my quantity ordered here. Now let's attach it. So I'm going to click on the paperclip, and then this is, see where it says shapefile attributes preview? This is the data that the shapefile here, or the map in my case, is expecting. And it's saying, I can accept data in any of these formats. What does your data look like? Well, my data looks like this, the two-digit state code. I click OK, I click OK again, and then that quickly, I have my states now kind of colored here by the amount of orders that they're doing by state. It's not good enough for me. I want these things to pop, right? I mean, we talked about the fact that when you think about things, we think spatially, we think about images. I mean, we do want some text on our images, right? So if I go to shape labels here and I tell it I want to go ahead and put the postal code on there and I want to include my summary values, now it pops. I can see that in Texas, I had 30,000 orders that quick. And now even on my mobile phone, I can see that immediately. That pops. Let's do one more thing here. Let's add some business cards. So I'm going to tell it I want business cards, and I'm going to drop those over here, and we'll make this look a little nicer here like that. And then on my business cards, I'm going to tell it I want a business card for each branch plant. I want to look at the quantities I had ordered, which is my actual. I want to compare that to my target, which is forecasts. It does the artwork for me. It shows me whether it's up or down. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can add like a little timeline on there if I want to by dragging the date down to like my spark line here. So my order date here in my spark line, make that kind of like a let's go month. So there I've got some additional artwork now on my card. And if I want to, let's do one more thing. Let's do two more things. I'm going to add a grid here. So let's take my grid and put it here. And then one more thing here. Let's do one more chart and look at my top 10 items. So right here on this grid, I'm going to go ahead and put my branch plant, my company, my item name, maybe my rep name, the order date, and the quantities that were ordered. Okay, so now I've got some detailed data there. On my chart here, let's go ahead and measure my top 10 items by item name here, quantities that were ordered. By default, it brings in everything. Let's go ahead and tell it, nah, we want to do top 10. So we'll enable this, we'll do a top 10 here like so, and we'll apply that. And now I've got a top 10. And just like before, I can go in here and make this thing, look a little nicer. I can remove my axes and things. I could even scale it to a level of 2, and I can put point labels on here like so, okay. And then let's make it interactive now. Let's turn it into something that's not just a report. Let's turn it into a little application so that when I click on Eastern Distribution, for example, everything changes to just show me what I'm doing with that one branch plant. So watch how difficult this is, you all. I'm going to click on Data, and I'm going to say make that a multiple master filter. That's it. That was how much code it took. So I click on Eastern Distribution, the chart changes, I unfilter, and I'm back to 0. I can do that with any of these elements, by the way. If I want to do like Texas here, for example, let's click on Texas, and that's how I'm doing in Texas. I want to hold my control key down, California, etc. Okay? So that's all kind of ETL, dashboard, kind of mashup type things. DAS does all of that. That's all DAS. You get that in 20 minutes. Okay, let's talk about the BI piece. So if you want to make this true BI at this point in time, I click the Save button here. We'll call it AJ Dashboard, like so, okay? And now that I've saved it, I'm going to push this out to the world, okay? So I'm going to go to this little World Wide Web icon here, and I'm going to click the World Wide Web icon, and it comes up. And you could have more than one portal. You may have a portal in China, a portal in Brazil, and a portal in the US, because you want this data to be as close to your users as possible. So I only have one set up. I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm logged in as a customer called, or a user called DAS admin. And then no one knows the refresh dates that this data needs more than the business analyst does. I mean, the business types know this. They know that they want their data refreshed every 12 hours or every day or every hour. I'm going to leave mine at never because I'm going to throw this away. But if I hit publish here, what's happening is it's taken all 7 of those JDE tables and that spreadsheet. It's pushing it out to the data warehouse. It's creating a table. It's indexing the table so that it works as fast as it can with the dashboard, and it's making the dashboard mobile, all with one click. It used to take a team of people to do that. And this is what the dashboard looks like when you're done. And it's completely interactive. If I click here on any of this stuff, let me reload it here real quick. If I click on any of this stuff, it changes immediately and shows you by branch plant how we're doing. That's an interactive application. Okay, I've got 10 minutes left. I want to talk about Enterprise 1 for 1 second here. So if I want to embed this now back into Enterprise 1, all I have to do, I was like, here's an example right here. Let me bring up a different one. Let me go to here and just look at like the AP dashboard for Cafe 1 here. So this is a dashboard that I wrote for specifically the AP screen inside of Enterprise 1. If you go into Enterprise 1 and you go to the Supplier Ledger Inquiry screen, the thing about this screen is it's got a lot of information on it. I mean, it's a great screen. It really is. I mean, I can click up here and I can look at stuff that was paid. I can look at stuff that's currently open. I can look at stuff that was withheld. I can key in specific vendors here and hit go. And it shows me data for that. What it doesn't show me is the information that I have embedded here on the right. It doesn't show me how I'm doing month over month from a spending perspective with these companies. It also doesn't tell me what I'm buying. So I've added that additional functionality into here. And by the way, it's live. It's an application. So if I click on July, I'm seeing what I bought in July, what I bought in June, what I bought in January, and all of that is clickable by your user right there on the same screen. So I want to show you how difficult this was to put in, okay? I'm going to go to Edit Form Layout, and I'm going to hit the trash can here. And now this is what the vanilla screen looks like. Now if I go back to DAS, or to Moby, you can you can make parameters for each of these. I can't even say that. So you'll notice here that I'm looking for a specific vendor 4344, and that's all I'm showing here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that URL just like that. I'm going to go back into Enterprise 1 here, and up at the top you see Create New Content right here. I'm going to click on that. It says what kind of content is it? Is it a different form instead of E1, or is it a URL? Mine's a URL. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to drag it where I want it, and now I have it. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that URL in there. And so by default right now, it would only ever bring up 4344 because I'm telling it that's a static link. If I want it to be dynamic, so if I change from 4344 here to like 4360, it's going to change automatically. So I'm going to tell it make this dynamic. And look how smart JD Edwards is. It figured this out on its own. It kind of carved that URL up and said, oh, these are the different things you can change. Well, I'm going to change this 4344 whenever I want to, so I'm going to map it. And when you map it, these little plus signs show up here. And I'm going to hit the plus sign for supplier number, and now I'm mapped. So if I save this, and I say allow that external application to come on in, what did I do wrong here? Oh, sorry, you all, I must have fat-fingered something. Let me go back and get the URL one more time. All right, copy. Oh, I didn't give it a name. Let's call this AP Overview, like so, and I'll click Save. So So now I've got my dashboard in here, and if I go up here to the top and I change this to be like 4360, for example, and I hit go, it's going to change on the right-hand side and show me data for the vendor 4360. And if I click on January, it shows me I bought computers and a developer PC. In June, I bought advertising, cell phones, nightsticks, and chairs. So anyway, that's kind of how you go full cycle. That's full life cycle right there. So I just want to back up here for a second. I found my data. I mashed up a bunch of data. I attached that to a dashboard. I drag and drop a few elements, clicked some click boxes, made my dashboard interactive, hit the publish button and published it, and then I embedded that all into Cafe One. I did it all live. I know it was scripted, but I did it all live, and I did it in about, I don't know, probably 40 minutes total. So that's what you all could be doing, and when you think about digital transformation and you think about where you want to be going from a business analytics perspective, there's nothing that can get you here quicker, at least in the JDE space, than what I just showed off. So, on that note, I think I'm going to pause for the day and just say thank you all very much for coming. I'll answer questions. And I do want to talk about this. Anybody that wants to try this out, all you have to do is contact myself, and it's a good time to bring up Vic's information here. So Victor Domini is the Director of Sales for the company. That's his contact information right there. There's my contact information. If you want to contact either one of us for any reason, you can just call and say hi if you want to. We're always available. Kristen, are there any questions popping?
We don't have any quite yet, anything either in the chat box or in the questions section, but feel free, for those of you attending, if you do have any questions, please use those now.
Yeah, I do also want to say this. I've also got some customers on here as well. We have something called the ReportsNow Academy. The ReportsNow Academy has about 700 videos out here, and for those of you that are trying to move into dashboards, there are about 70 videos out there on each of these different dashboard elements. And you can go out there if you have access to the Academy and take those. For those of you that would like to try the software out, you get access to all 700 of those videos during the trial. So at any rate, like I said, everybody, thank you very much for attending today. We really appreciate it. And I'll pause here for a few more minutes for questions. Otherwise, have a great week, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Alan. And just as a reminder for those of you that are still on the call, we are recording this webinar, and if you would like to receive the link so that you can watch this later or share it with other people in your company, please also don't hesitate to let any of us know. And another thing that I would also like to mention, in addition to the ReportsNow Academy that Alan was discussing, if you also would like to engage one of our professionals here to help you build the dashboards or the reports that you are looking for, we also do have a team dedicated to that as well. So that would be another thing. If you are interested in anything like that, please reach out and let us know.
All right, I think we're going to close it down, you all. Thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully we'll talk to our customers soon, and those of you that saw it today for the first time, we'd love to talk to you in the future. So take care and have a wonderful week.